Welcome back to Eliances Heroes, where heroes in business align. To be part of our super community and find out more about Eliances, visit www.Eliances.com. Now, back to our super host, David Cogan, founder of Eliances.
That's right. David Cogan, Eliances, the place where entrepreneurs align. And we just had the president of Ahwatukee Foothills Chamber of Commerce filling us on all the things of what makes unique commerce so unique. Later on in the show, we're going to have the top-ranked memory athlete in the world. This guy holds 7 world records for memory, and we'll be ending the show with the founder and the CEO of Edible Arrangements with more than 1,300 stores worldwide. Well, what's it like to be a president of a bank? I got to tell you, this is incredible, because one of the biggest responsibilities someone can have is being responsible for their money. And today we have the president, CEO of Republic Bank of Arizona, Ralph Tapscott, and you can reach Ralph by going to republicbankaz.com. And Republic Bank has been named the #1 bank in the U.S. of those under 100 million. This is a large feat. Ralph, how do you do it?
You know, David, it is an interesting environment out there for banking, but actually that accolade was won for a period of time when the bank was very aggressive, supporting small businesses, and did significant volumes of small business administration lending.
And let's talk about that. How much of your bank does do small business? Why did you guys focus on small business? What was the purpose of that?
So our niche is almost exclusively focused on the small business arena in the greater Phoenix area. We feel it's a niche that the large banks don't pay enough attention to. If your business has $10, $20 million in revenue or greater, chances are you'll catch the attention of them. But many smaller businesses, $2, $3 million, just can't find a bank that they connect with. So we deliver service the old-fashioned way, in person, and we think it's a niche that can support us for years to come.
In fact, your bank is one of only 7 community banks in the Phoenix Valley of the Sun here in Arizona. Let's talk a little bit more of the advantage, though, of a community bank versus a national bank.
So one of the beauties is your decisions are made locally. I mean, you are sitting down across the table from the person who can say yes or no. You're also sitting down with the person who is involved with making the policy for the bank. So we don't have a broad-based policy that supports the entire nation. We're focused on the Phoenix business economy, or the greater Phoenix business economy. You're also talking to a person that, although we made the policy, can make an exception to that policy if it makes sense.
So there's more leeway working with community bank.
I believe so.
Now, I'd say you're an expert with banking. I mean, you have more than 25 years of banking experience. You've done it in Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. In fact, you even created asset growth at one bank from $160 million to $360 million, and expanded trades from 16,000 to over 200,000 annually. Incredible. How does one, though, follow the path to really become it's such a responsibility, being responsible for people's money, becoming the president of the bank?
I think it's not that different than any other industry out there. Hard work and smart work get you ahead.
What was your first position, though, within the banking industry itself?
I was a credit analyst.
Oh, incredible.
It was a small bank, and I still remember my boss rolling in and dropping some financials on my desk and saying, hey, I need a loan package.
But did you think at that time that you would ever, this is the career I want to follow, and that someday I'm going to become the president of a bank? It's
quite ironic. Initially, I said I'd never get into banking. Then I did, and then I thought, well, I'll do this until I figure out what I really want to do. I thought I had some entrepreneurial spirit, but it's turned out to be a phenomenal career, and the businesses that I've helped along the way, and the bankers that I've seen develop and grow, it's what I love to do.
Is there such thing as banking hours, really, for a president of a bank?
Yes, there are. There are. They're typically starting about 7 in the morning, and they go on until the hours of the evening. And I tell my clients, my business card has my cell number. You can call me as early as 6 a.m. Try not to call me after 8 p.m.
Incredible. And how does, I guess let me ask you, the banking industry itself, you must have seen so many changes over the past 25 years.
I think the first changes happened in the late '80s with the prior significant recession, and then it was pretty much on par for a decade or two. But as most of you know, from 2008 on, our industry's been turned upside down.
How do you keep track, though? Because there's so many regulations in the banking industry. What maybe surprises you about those? That would surprise somebody about a policy, for example, that may not be in the industry itself?
Well, let me just explain this. This is a new phenomenon coming on by the regulatory agencies. When I say regulatory agencies of a bank, we have the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, we have the Federal Deposit Insurance Corp, and we have the Federal Reserve Bank. If you talk to most small businesses, they're going to state today that banks have too tight of credit constraints. It's difficult to get approved for a loan. I can tell you what the regulators have been saying for the past 3 months. We're loosening our standards and we're getting too loose and they're concerned. So there's a disconnect. So we have to get political. We have to align with both sets of constituents and make a dollar at the end of the day.
And with all of the changes, though, how does one even keep up with it? It seems like all the time, and I'm not even in the industry, but I'm reading and hearing, well, we've got this and this. How do you just stay on top of it?
Well, let's just say 3 years ago, I did not wear glasses. I'm on +1 cheaters now, and they're not doing it quite well yet. Look at Dodd-Frank, probably the last piece of major legislation we saw passed for public companies and banks was Sarbanes-Oxley. If you look at Sarbanes-Oxley as legislation, I think it's less than 2 inches thick. Take Dodd-Frank, and it's nearly 800 pages and a foot deep. And the rulemaking to put Dodd-Frank into play has taken them 7 years, and they're still not complete.
And you're listening to Eliances Heroes. Are you a hero in business? Go to Eliances.com. That's the place where entrepreneurs align. That's ELIANCES.com. We have Ralph Tapscott, the president of Republic Bank Arizona, and that's republicbankaz.com to reach him. But again, don't call him before 7 a.m. And I can tell you, too, is that he is very well respected. In fact, he's part of Eliances. He's a member of Eliances. You've been to our various experiences, our round table, a grand table, and that. What do you think about the magic that takes place there? Why do you think so many people want to be part of the Eliances community?
Just like Ann said, you cannot leave a grand table event without being totally inspired. I'm relatively new to the Valley. I've met some phenomenal people at Eliances, and not a week goes by that I don't connect with 2 or 3 of them.
What advice would you give, for example, to those that are aspiring to get into the banking industry and really work their way up the food chain to eventually be responsible? And it's a big responsibility, any position at the bank is, but to the path, the journey to be able to get to where you are.
Again, David, I think it's like most other industries. Do more than what's asked of you. Become a lifelong learner. Never stop learning and developing. And in addition to being astute, it's about relationships. You have to build relationships inside the bank and outside the bank.
And you're involved. You're the former chairman of the Arizona Bankers Association. What do you think? What does that exactly do? I didn't even know there were Bankers Association. First of all, does every state have Bankers Association?
Yes, every state in the United States pretty much has a Bankers Association. So the Arizona Bankers Association is a group of banks, an association that supports advocacy, shape regulation that helps our industry, provides an educational outlet not only for our bank directors but for our bankers to help them develop more fully. It's a pro-business alliance of bankers.
And what's the best thing that a small business can do when they want to come in and get a loan? Like what are some of the maybe things that you see most people don't do that you can give tips so that after this interview you're going to be flooded with applicants what they could do? We've got less than a minute here.
So I think the biggest thing is have good record keeping, and I wished I could encourage more banks to develop and continue developing their business plan. We do it at the bank, and I wish they would do it. Draw the roadmap of where they're taking their company.
Well, thank you so much, Ralph Tapscott. You could reach him at Republic Bank AZ. I got to tell you, someone who has dedicated his life to creating jobs, growing the community, helping small businesses, individuals, and families financially improve their lives. That's what a hero is. And when we return, we're going to have the top-ranked memory athlete in the world hold 7 world records for memory. Thank you again, David Cogan, and thank you to our producer, LoopyDocs.com, for all your editing needs. David Cogan with Eliances.